This is Thursday, March the 4th. This is World History. Well, let's start with something we know. We know that in the 1600s, both England and France are going to create colonies in India. We know that in the mid 1700s, we're going to fight the 7 Years' War, which Great Britain has won. Now, here is the map that we need to fill out. We know that Calcutta is over here. We know that Bombay is over here. We know that New Delhi is up here. This is the Ganges River. This is the Indus River. Pakistan is here. Bangladesh is here. And of course, this in the middle would be India. Now, it's important that you fill out your map because you're going to see this again on the quiz. Well, let's pick up with India after the British are declared the winner. Now, after the 7 Years' War, the British are going to create the East India Tea Company. Now, the East India Tea Company was owned by a group of British subjects who were advisors to the king. The king was not really too interested in this area, so the East India Tea Company is going to send over Robert Clive. Now, there's a lot written about Robert Clive. There are those who say that he was a saint. There are those who say that he was a sinner. What we do know is that under Clive, the East India Tea Company is going to make a lot of money and that they're going to become rich on the gifts of various Indian leaders. Now, the idea was that Clive said to the various Indian states, I'll stay out of your hair if you play nice and you give me money. Well, they did. Parliament will eventually place restrictions on the East India Tea Company. They will say to them that the tea company is taking advantage of the Indian people and the tribal leaders. After the Treaty of Paris, Great Britain will begin to try to control key Indian ports like Calcutta and Bombay. Now, the rulers of these ports were given gifts by the British so that the British could bring in and out anything that they wanted. Britain is going to take control of India through an intermediary, the British East India Tea Company. Now, as I said earlier, the East India Tea Company is owned and controlled by members of Parliament, people who advise the king, or what we call the Privy Council. Now, because of this, they could make a lot of money. Now, this is going to change, though, about the time of the American Revolution. As India became more important to the British, Parliament is going to begin to take power away from the Privy Council, take power away from the British East India Tea Company. Now, it is at about this time that Robert Clive is under investigation for absconding with money that should have gone to Great Britain. And Robert Clive will kill himself. He is replaced by Cornwallis. Now, Cornwallis is important to American history because it was Cornwallis who had surrendered to Washington during the American Revolution. This is a short video that deals with this time in Indian history. Now, Cornwallis has decided to begin what is called civil service. The idea is that young men are going to be trained as merchants, trained as soldiers, trained as government officials. So instead of the British interacting with the Indian citizens, the British will interact with these civil servants, who will then interact with the Indian citizens. By the 1800s, Indian citizens and British officials are going to clash over several key issues. Now, you have to understand that India is built around a caste system. You are born into a caste system, and you stay in that caste system until you die. Now, the Hindu faith calls upon what is called reincarnation. So let's say that you are cast at a particular level, and you lived a virtuous life. When you are reborn, you will be reborn into a higher caste. Let's say you're born into a caste and you're a real scoundrel. Then when you are reborn, you will be reborn into a lower caste. Now, the lowest caste you can have are untouchables. And most Indians are members of the untouchable caste. Now remember, that's caste, not class. The British objected to a practice called sati. Now, hopefully I pronounced that correctly. Let's say that a man has died. Now, in India, the death ceremony is a system where the person is burned, cremated. Now, what about the wife? Well, the wife is supposed to have devotion to her husband. So the wife is going to throw herself on her husband's funeral fire and burn to death with him. Well, what happens if she doesn't want to do this? Then usually what will happen is the husband's family will surround her and throw her into the fire, whether she wants to or not. This is what we call sati. And the British said this is wrong. They said we need to stop this. In the 1800s, the Indian soldiers are given a new rifle. And the rifle has a cartridge. So it's a piece of paper, and you bite off the end of it, and you pour into the gun the bullet and the powder, and then you take the cartridge and you put it in the gun and you tamp it all down. Well, the belief was by the Indian soldiers that the paper was coated in pig fat. Well, if you were Hindu, if you were Muslim, this pig fat is against your religion. Now, of course, the officers who are English are commanding you to get ready to fight. Well, you're not doing this because your religion forbids it. Soon we will have what is called the Sepoy Rebellion. Now, Sepoys are what the Indian soldiers are called. Both Muslim and Hindus will attack British installations. British civilians are going to be killed. Now, in time, the last Mughal leader, the Mughal is the leader of the Muslims and Hindus in northern India, is going to be deposed, and most of northern India is going to fall into total British control. This is where New Delhi comes to play. This here is a video about the Sepoy Revolt. In 1876, this is during the height of imperialism, the Indian states are going to be declared part of the Commonwealth of Great Britain. In gratitude, the various Indian states will declare Queen Victoria Empress of India. Now, by this time, the telegraph has gone and crisscrossed India. Britain has installed roads. Britain has installed railroads. Now, of course, all of these are going to have to be run by these civil servants that had been created during the time of Lord Cornwallis. Great Britain depends upon Indian cloth. Indian cotton could be processed, spun, and weaved into cloth faster in Great Britain than it could India. And the Indians are going to rebel. They're going to boycott British cloth. This is what we call the homespun boycott. In Indian education, children were taught English. Indian students were educated at university to run the government. Most Indians not only speak their native language, but also speak English. Now, from these groups of highly educated Indian men is going to come the creation of the National Congress Party. Now, the National Congress Party is going to call upon Great Britain to give India its freedom, its independence. At the beginning of the 20th century, India will be broken up into what is called East Bengal and West Bengal. Now, East Bengal, which is mostly Muslim, will be renamed Bangladesh. West Bengal, which again is mostly Muslim, is going to be called Pakistan. Soon after World War I, the Indians are going to be given their independence by the King of Great Britain. Well, I think this is probably a good place for us to stop. Now, tomorrow, we're going to look at China.